Hello and welcome to another edition of James and Chris Science Videos, where today we're going to be looking at ways of identifying species using a technique called dichotomous keys. Now, if you go back to a previous video, the one on kingdoms, we discussed that there are over 1.7 million known species across the planet of a possible 8.7 billion that we haven't discovered yet. And it's impossible for one person to know the name of every single species and identify it by sight. So we need to have a method where we can look at a species and ask some questions that will lead us to the answer of what the species name is. Now, to give a little example, what I've got at the bottom is two pictures of two species of cow, two varieties of cow. Now, some of you, and I know we've got some people in my classes that could probably look at those and go, oh, they are, and be able to tell me exactly what they are. But for most people, looking at those cows will not be able to, with 100% surety, be able to tell me what those two cows are. So what we need is a key, and a key is something that looks like this. It comes with questions where the questions have two possible answers. So the first question, is the body more than one colour? So that's either a yes or a no. If it's a no, then it goes to another question, and that question has to have two possible answers. So is the body more than one colour? No, the first one. Yes, it is. Does the animal have a black or a white face? Oh, well, we'll look at that. Well, it's got a black face, so that would be a Russian black-pied cow. And that would be our way of being able to identify them. They're very useful tools. Now, let's look at building one. And I've got here, we're going to use Mr. Men as our example. And I'm going to show you how to build a key using the Mr. Men as our example. So we start with the templates. Now, in the description bar, there is a link to a blank template if you want to use one of those. If not, you could just draw it on a piece of paper. That's fine. If you're in one of my classes, I've uploaded this to OneNote. So here we go. These are the 8 Mr. Men that we're going to use. You might know their names already. Don't worry if you don't. It's not part of this lesson to know what those are off by heart. So we start with a question. I need a question that is going to split those two groups in half. Now the question I'm going to ask is, does he have a hat? Yes or no? So you look down and half have got hats, half haven't. So I've split it quite evenly down the middle to start with. So those are all the ones I've got there without hats. They're the little Mr. Men. And I need a second question now to split them again. The second question I'm going to use is, do they have hair? Again, it's a simple yes-no question. All those that are yes, we split them, and I need a last question to split them and identify them. The question I'm going to use is the hair straight? Yes or no? If the answer was no, then that's Mr. Clumsy. If the answer was yes, then that's Mr. Fussy. So we can build our key using questions that split whatever group we've got. Now, here's a full version. So I know some of you might know the Mr. Men names, so that wouldn't be fair just to say that. So what I've done is I've made up a first name for each of the Mr. Men. And you've got to use the key to work out the first name for each of those. What I suggest you do is on a piece of paper, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and those equate to the order going from left to right. So the green guy with the moustache and the straight hair, which was Mr. Fussy, he is going to be number 1. And you read down. In fact, I'm going to go through number 1 with you. So we'll go through. Does he have a hat? Well, number 1 there, no, he does not have a hat. Does he have hair? Well, yes, he has hair. So we go to the next question. Is his hair straight? Yes, it is. So that there is George Fussy. Just George will do. So you've now got to go down and work out for each of those their first names. Shouldn't take you long. You want to pause the video at this point until you've done that, because after my countdown of 5, we're going to show the answers. So just pause the video now. Here are the answers. So you can see the answers here and just check to see how you've done. Hopefully you've got all of those correct. So now it's your turn. On the screen, I've put a blank copy of what the key looks like. Again, there's a version of this in the descriptions, or it's in your OneNote, or if you don't have either of those, just drawing those on a piece of paper can work. They don't need to be in boxes. You could just put the question and then an arrow going down, as long as you've got a way of splitting it into two types. There are two exercises that I'm going to present to you. One of them is easy, one of them is harder. If you want to choose the easy or hard one, that's your choice. But I want you to make a key for one of the following two situations. The first one, it's not going to be animal based, but is football badges. Now this is quite easy. This has got lots of colours, lots of shapes. That is going to make it very easy for you to do. Now you pick 8 of those. You can't do it for all of them because the template has only got 8, but you choose the 8 football teams that you want to choose, and then you build a key for that so that someone can identify the football team using your key and the badge. I know some of them have got names on them, but let's just imagine that it's not with the names, it's just the shape. So imagine they can't read, and you are reading that key out to them. The second one is much harder. These are different types of cat. Now I've put the order in there, so it goes from the top. That's a jaguar, then there's a lion, then there's 2 snow leopards. So well camouflaged, aren't they? We've got a tiger, we've got a cougar, we've got a lynx, we've got an ocelot, and we've got a European wildcat. Now, in order to do this key, you're probably going to have to do a little bit of research on each of those cats in order to work out how to separate them. You can use, if you want to, the locations where you find them. So you could say, is it found in North America? Yes or no. Yes would equal some, and it would get rid of things like the tiger and the lion, which you wouldn't find in North America. So you can use location as a clue. Once you've done those, that should take you 10-15 minutes. Then come back on the video. I'm going to show you another type of key that you can do. And this type of key is called a go-to type. Again, it's a dichotomous key. Dichotomous meaning it's got 2 answers that you can give. So for this is just an answer. This won't make sense to you yet. I'm going to show you a second picture. But you've got question 1, question 1A, question 1B, and they will tell you if the answer is this, go to this question. So this relates to these objects. So I've got a paperclip, small paperclip, paper fastener, sharpened pencil, etc. Now, what I've done is I've invented a new language for each of those different objects. We'll start with the paperclip, and I'll just show you how to do the paperclip because you're then going to have to go and do the other bits on your own. So let's look at the large paperclip. First question says, is it made from metal? If so, go to question 2A. Well, that is made out of metal, so we're going to go to question 2A. Is it made of only metal? Well, yes, it's made of only metal, so we go to question 3A. The item is silver in colour. Yep, that's silver in colour, so we're going to go to question 4A. The item is longer than 3 centimetres, the item is shorter than 3 centimetres. Well, I reckon that's a large one because it's a large paperclip. So in my new language, a large paperclip equals a super duper. So what I'd like you to do is to each of the objects, and you just need to, again, write down on a piece of paper or to put it onto OneNote, large paperclip equals super duper. Then you're going to do a small paperclip equals something else, paper fastener equals something else, and so see if you can work out what the names according to my new language is. Now, again, I'm going to count down to 5. You may pause the video and use those 2 sections there to work out the names. After 5 seconds, I'm going to give you the answers. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and those are the answers. So hopefully you managed to get each of those correct. So, summary. This is what we have done today. There are far too many species for one person to identify on their own. They need a tool in which they can use to identify those species. The tool we use are keys, and the ones I've showed you today are called dichotomous keys, which use a question where there are only two possible answers. I've also discovered through this that cats are really hard to identify. I could have put loads more on. That would have made it really hard. Anyway, hope you're all safe. Hope you're all well. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.